Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. Well, happy Boxing Day, everybody. Yeah, I'm a lot happier than I was yesterday. If you saw my Christmas special video yesterday, I was a bit downhearted. I thought I'd have a hangover today, and I haven't. I don't have an ice pack on my head. I've just got Sophie the Porter's Pose hat. But I do. I had a lovely Christmas day after I made yesterday's film at my daughter's place. We had a lovely time with her and her friends. And I've also had a lovely present from a loyal viewer, which is this. Now this is it's this great sort of it's actually military surplus, and it is a map carrying case, which is waterproof. It's a waterproof map carrying case. Now you see, you put the map in there, and it keeps it dry when you've got a map. Now the reason this viewer sent me this is because in one of my previous videos I had a map with me and I couldn't get it out and read it because it was raining, and so they thought, oh, I'll send Ben this so that he can put his map in that in the future. So thank you very much to that person who sent me that. And the same viewer also gave me a bit of champagne. Look, all wrapped in a Santa Claus suit to keep it warm. Now you don't want warm champagne, but it keeps it cool as well, I suppose, if you chill it down first. It's only a small bottle, but I don't want too much champagne because otherwise I would get tipsy again. Anyway, thank you very much to that viewer for sending me these things. That's really, really good of you. Right, so where were we? Gatwick Airport. Yes, the farce continues. The charade continues. This ever-going soap opera connected to this little airport, or big airport, and everything that happened around it, which I've been covering in 3 videos up till now, and this is the 4th. Well, the story is continuing and the plot is thickening. Yes, indeed. I mean, this is something that won't go away. I thought that the last one would be I thought the last video would be the last we heard about it, but there has been some new information that has come to light during the Christmas period, and so we're going to go through some of that now.
Well, the biggest news since the last instalment of this series is that the Gatwick drone monsters are no longer suspects. It doesn't actually say much, doesn't name them. It just says that a 47-year-old man and a 54-year-old woman from Crawley had been arrested on Friday night. Sussex police said they'd been given 67 reports of drone sightings. Yes. Detective Chief Superintendent Jason Singley said no footage of the drone had been obtained. That's always that's an interesting thing to say, and I'll come on to that later because another story picks up on that. But anyway, they're going to find it more and more difficult to make this run, I think, especially since the people they actually kicked out, the people they actually dragged in, who I said were probably just suspects because of the husband's interest in drones, were released exactly as I predicted. They were released without charge, and now they're back to square one, and they have no suspects at all, despite the fact these drones are apparently all over the place, and the airport was shut for almost 2 whole days, and they had no way of seemingly to identify exactly where these drones were coming from and who was operating them. The only people they actually dragged in, and that indeed their names were released to the media, or the media found out about their names and said some awful things, which I'll come to in a minute, are now being vindicated. And in fact they've done a little press conference, which I'll come on to next. And here they are, Elaine Kirk and Paul Gate, a married, middle-aged white couple from the local area. As I said, very typical of the demographics of the sort of Surrey area. Were just pulled in, and they were questioned and grilled over being the Gatwick drone monsters, and then they were released without charge. I mean, I think early in the next day, so they were kept, I think, only for a short period of time. But in that time, newspapers reported all kinds of things, which I'll come to in a minute as well. And you can see by their looks on their faces, and there's their family standing behind them, how awful they feel. And they did a little video here, just a short video, which was released to the BBC. And they actually start crying in the middle of it. This is how awful, how bad they felt. And I don't blame them. I really don't. I think it's an awful thing that was done to them. And it's becoming more and more clear, as I'll come to at the end of this particular video, how sure I am about that, and how I'm certain I am that something else is going on. It's become more and more clear through the course of my investigation The official story is a load of rubbish, and something else, something very different, was happening. And now we have this particular news item here. Gatwick drones, Sussex police facing calls to hand over control of investigation. The Sussex police is voicing calls to let other agencies take over the investigation into the chaos caused by the drone activity at Gatwick Airport. It follows criticisms over the force's handling of the probe into suspected drone operations and the suspension of flights which ruined travel plans for more than 140,000 people in the run-up to Christmas. And there's a Lord Haringey, who sits on the Joint Committee on National Security Strategy, suggested the disruption of critical infrastructure could justify the involvement of Scotland Yard. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of this is rather like the situation at the London Olympics. Do you remember where Group G4S were in so much terrible trouble because they mishandled the old Olympics situation, the Olympic security in 2012 in London? I did a whole video on that, and indeed Ben Fellows comes into that. But it was simply used as an excuse, of course, to militarise the Olympics completely, as I said at the time. This is different. This is, in a sense, they want it to be seen they're doing something about it. They want to be seen, yes, there were drones. These people failed completely. This police force failed completely in its responsibility to bring the Gatwick drone monster to justice quickly and swiftly so the airport could reopen. Therefore, we think they should have their whole responsibility for the drone operation transferred to another agency, contracted out to somebody else in future. But of course, I think that's just what Richard D. Hall calls a phony bone of contention, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. Right, couple released without charge over Gatwick drone could win libel payout. Yes. The couple release, Paul Gate and Elaine Kirk, arrested and released without charge in relation to the Gatwick drone incident, could win at least £75,000 from the newspapers who identified them according to a leading libel lawyer. Yes, well, the headlines, the headlines are incredible, actually. Are these the morons who ruined everyone's Christmas? That was actually a headline in one of the red tops, I think, the other day. Yeah, Mark Stevens, head of media law at Howard Kennedy University, said they had a strong legal case if they wish to pursue legal action, absent of a compelling reason, and the police saying you may not any longer identify people who've been arrested. The damage is likely to be in the region of £75,000 to £125,000. It could be more when you total in all the news outlets, because each one is going to pay something for the damage they've caused. I don't see any lawyer who wouldn't take it on a no-win, no-fee basis. Every last penny, that's all I can say, guys. Every last penny. I hope they win, and it'll be very richly deserved. No, seriously, it's just obscene. These people essentially have been made patsies. In the true Lee Harvey Oswald sense, innocent people have been dragged out of their houses and locked up for 36 hours because they were needed to distract attention away from a cover-up, from an actual cover-up that was going on. And now this. I'm almost at a loss for words. I honestly am. This is a story that came out on Christmas Eve, when all the furrow was starting to die down. Gatwick drone latest. Police say it's a possibility there never was a drone. This is after how many news reports saying, oh, there's a drone. We've definitely found a drone. There's a terrible drone going on. It's awful. Can't you hear it? Can't you see it? It's over the airport. It's going to damage aircraft. We know it's there. An officer investigating the drone chaos at Gatwick Airport said there's no footage of the device. It sparked it, and it is a possibility there never was one. Honestly, well, look, I told them that. I told them that to begin with. I actually... Oh, I said... Oh. This is almost like the mainstream media is now repeating my own investigation and my own conclusions and my own reports. So I can't help laughing. Until we've got more clarity, said Detective Chief Superintendent Jason Tingley, around what they've said, the detailed time and place, direction of travel, all those types of things, and that is a big task. The incident which sparked the drone sighting on Wednesday around 9 p.m. And it goes on and on a little bit more. Mr. Tingley also said one of the working theories that a damaged drone found close to the airport in Hawley was responsible for the disruption. Hawley was where I was. I didn't see anything. They're getting desperate now. I bet they just go down and buy one and smashing one up. They will do. They talked about 67 drone sightings, right, a moment ago. Now they're saying there may not have even been a drone. Oh dear. You couldn't make it up. You cannot make it up. You really can't. Oh dear. And then this was very swiftly released just a couple of hours later. This is on the BBC. Gatwick no drone police comment was miscommunicated. Yes, indeed. We never said there was a passport on the ground belonging to one of the hijackers on 9/11, did we? No, we didn't. It was a rumour that might be true. You remember that? They're doing the same thing again now. The suggestion that there may not have been any drones at Gatwick Airport was miscommunicated by the police. A government source, whoever the hell that is, has told the BBC. Excuse me. During a conference call between ministers chaired by the Transport Secretary Chris Grayling, a trustworthy character I'm sure, it was agreed the 67 drone sightings were legitimate. But over the weekend a senior police officer said there was a possibility there had been no drone. Honestly, man, and it says here, Sussex police has insisted it was not back to square one. After releasing the two suspects, that is Gate and Kirk, the couple who had an interest in drones. Oh my god. Oh dear. The hour-long call included David Linton for the Cabinet Office, the Home Secretary Sajid Javid, Security Minister Ben Wallace, Aviation Minister Baroness Sugg, and Defence Minister, the airport and the police. A government source said the force accepted there had been poor communications. Sorry, we didn't actually mean, when we said there may not have been a drone, we actually didn't mean that there may not have been a drone. We meant that, how exactly are we going to spin this? How are we going to word this? How are we going to explain, my dears, that how much money was spent on this? How much taxpayers' money was spent on this? Wasting the police's time, wasting the army's time, wasting everybody else's time on this. I wonder, what's actually going to happen? Is there going to be an official investigation? Is this board that the Transport Secretary was chairing going to actually take any action? Or are they just going to hope it goes away? Everyone's going to get a hangover on New Year and it's all going to go away. We'll see. Now, I do recommend this video if you get the chance to see it. Dronegate or Corporate Cover-Up by Ian R. Crane. Now, Ian R. Crane is a good guy. He's been in a couple of my videos at some point, I think, a while ago, and he's also been a guest on Panwo Radio. He's big in the anti-fracking movement, but he also does other things as well. He goes out into other areas, and he has an annual conference called Alternative View, which I very much recommend going to if you can. I've been to 3 of them. He's a good guy. I like him. He's a good mate of mine, and I respect what he does. And for calling this out, I think he's done a good thing calling this out. Now, he goes into a lot of the same areas as I do. He talks about how anyone who even looks briefly into drone technology as a part of research, who knows nothing to begin with, will see immediately that it's just not feasible, what was said here. And then he goes on to bring up the same subject that I did about the fact that there was suddenly we're told there may not even have been a drone. This is incredible. After 2 days of saying there's drones everywhere, drones flying all over the airport. We're frightened. The planes are going to crash. We're doomed. We're doomed. We've got to shut the airport now. We're doomed. And all the airline industry saying, well, there's nothing we can do. We don't owe anyone any compensation. We owe nobody any compensation because it's an act of God. It's just nothing we're responsible for. And now the police actually come out and say, oh, there may never have been a drone. Sorry, we might be mistaken. Bit of I don't know. Maybe someone said there was one, and we sort of thought, well, maybe kind of like, and ah, things like that. They and ah, and they go, oh no, So Ian calls them out on that as well. And he also makes several other good points as well. He goes into some other areas which are very interesting, which he's investigated, which I haven't yet. Ian has come up with a conjecture, and he's brought some intriguing evidence to bear that what actually happened was there's some kind of systemic failure, probably involving some electronics in air traffic control. Now this, if it actually was revealed, if the airport admitted that this had actually happened, or it came out and was revealed that this has actually happened, then the airport and the airlines would indeed owe compensation to the people stuck at the airport during the stoppage, the people numbering the equivalent of the population of Banbury, each one entitled to hundreds, maybe thousands of pounds as in refunds and in compensation. So if they can get away with lying about what happened, then it's an awfully lucrative porky, isn't it? How does Ian know this? Well, he doesn't know for sure, and no one does, because nothing's been revealed. But he has found some intriguing links between several people, one person in particular, on the management team of Gatwick Airport, and a company called Centrica. And Centrica is involved with fracking. And there's all kinds of, as I said, the motives were there, the opportunity was there, and the ability was there. If there are enough people in that company, that is the management structure of Gatwick Airport, got together and decided to perpetrate a hoax to save them millions and millions of pounds, we know through the obedience culture, which I've talked about before, the Milgram experiments, etc., that people would go on and would go along with it. People lower down on the management structure would go along with it. And eventually you reach a point where probably nobody knows, and they're just hearing what's coming from above, and they're just doing their jobs as always, which probably includes the lady I spoke to at the entrance to the departure lounge the other day in the part 3 of this particular video. But there's more. Oh, there's so much more. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. What do you know? Who'd have thought it? Just literally 24 hours or even less after, for some reason, Gatwick Airport had to shut down because of these horrible, nasty drones that were buzzing all over the place like mosquitoes, which nobody actually filmed. The police were absolutely certain was there at the time, and are now not so certain that they were there. Birmingham Airport announced it was closing. It was closing because of technical problems. These were technical problems to do with air traffic control. And as the great David Icke says here, just a coincidence, nothing to worry about. It reopened actually. Luckily it was only closed for 2 hours, and then it reopened again. So it was the people stuck at Birmingham Airport didn't have to endure the same, nights of camping out under Christmas trees like they did at Gatwick Airport. But flights were delayed, diverted, and cancelled despite that happening. It reopened, and then they announced what has happened. And as Ian said, they perhaps thought, well, we're not going to get away with this if we make up a drone story. So they decided to be honest, and they said it suspended services due to an air traffic control fault, and the problems were a result of the electronic flight plan system that began to affect flights from around 6 p.m. A spokesperson said, following the early air traffic control technical fault, Birmingham Airport has now resolved the issue and operations have now resumed. We thank passengers for their patience and apologise for any inconvenience that was caused. International flights were held diverted to other airports while a number of domestic flights were cancelled. The airport has advised passengers to check with their airline regarding departures, etc. and arrivals. The spokesperson said earlier as well, we are working to resolve the issue as soon as possible. Passengers are advised to check, etc., etc., apologise for inconvenience. IT technicians are working on the problem and they hoped it was not too serious. Well, the good news is it obviously wasn't that serious because it only lasted for 2 hours, which may be one of the reasons why they decided to be honest, because I think if a 2-hour delay doesn't involve any financial payout to the actual passengers, unless an airline has a particular deal there, unless you're a million-mile flyer or something like that, then you get special privileges. But isn't it odd that just 1 day, or 1.5 days, if that, after Gatwick, the trouble was spotted at Gatwick Airport. This was, like I said, this was the day before Christmas Eve. This was Sunday, so it's just very, very. Sorry, I was saying after Gatwick reopened. Pardon me. That Birmingham Airport has to close for a short time, and it's because of an electronic flight plan system. Presumably it's quite a new system if it's causing trouble. I mean, mostly it's new systems that cause trouble. So what if the same system had been introduced at Gatwick Airport, and then it had caused much bigger disruption than was caused at Birmingham, to the point where they were in a situation where they basically had to shut the airport for a day and a half. What if that happened at Gatwick? And that was when the people in Gatwick Airport Management decided, let's just tell everyone it's drones. Let's just tell everyone it's drones. Let's call the police in. Get a couple of local people locked up who are, this guy, he's keen on drones. Let's drag him in and question them for a long time. Let's tell the media who they are so they can call them the morons who ruined Christmas. It all diverts attention from us and it saves us from paying 140,000 people compensation. That's what Ian has suggested, and I think he may very well be right. And now there's another story that Ian touched on in his video, and indeed I did as well, which was this crisis would not be allowed to go to waste, no matter what the cause. Someone in authority who wants stricter controls of drone use would take advantage of it. They would insist that because this happened, problem, reaction, solution, as David Icke says, because this happened, that we need more and more registration of drones, we need more licensing laws for pilots and things like that, operators rather. And indeed we have here this particular article that came out on Christmas Day. Gatwick drone latest. Police warn people getting devices for Christmas to know the rules before flying them. Oh yes. New drone owners are being warned about the dangers of flying the devices as soon as they unwrap them this Christmas after the chaos at Gatwick Airport. Police and aviation authorities urge users to read up on strict rules about the remote-controlled gadgets before taking them for their first spin. Those caught flouting heightened airport restriction face a maximum fine of £2,500 and up to 5 years imprisonment. That's going to increase, no doubt. This new law came into effect in early July. Well, it's going to increase now. Restricts all drones from flying above 400 feet and within 1 kilometre of airport boundaries. Yeah, but what's the point of it? They're not going to catch you, are they? They're so crap at catching drone operators. Oh, just go ahead and do it, guys. No one's going to care. Oh yeah. The crisis at the UK's second busiest airport ruined the pre-Christmas travel plans for tens of thousands of people. And they go on. The Civil Aviation Authority figures obtained by the Press Association showed there were 120 near misses between drones and aircraft in the year from December the 4th last year. That's up a total of 29% for the whole of 2017. National Police Chiefs Council's lead for the criminal misuse of drones to be Deputy Chief Constable Serena Kennedy said, before anyone uses a drone, it's vital that they make themselves aware of their responsibilities and the rules to make sure these devices are operated in a safe and responsible way. Do not take this lightly. If you break any of these and act irresponsibly, you could face criminal charges. You see what I mean? The thing is that drones are actually have actually done a lot of good. Drones offer a freedom of information to the general population. It allows us to access areas we wouldn't previously be allowed to access, wouldn't be able to access. A person with a drone can actually see things that someone on the ground who doesn't have one can't. A person with a drone can actually see things that pilots of conventional manned aircraft cannot see. You can fly a drone around all kinds of places, like you can look into windows and things like that. And this is very, very important. And there's times when drones have actually been vital when it comes to spying in terms of sort of what you might call community espionage, which is against the authorities. And this is what the authorities don't like. This is why they're trying to censor people on the internet as well, because they don't like people being free in this particular way. So I think this is a pretty cast iron case, that when they said that the police say there's a possibility that there were no drones. I think it's a certainty that there were no drones.
So there you have it. I think we have a pretty conclusive case here. Now, the idea that this is some kind of corporate cover-up because of a fault with the electronic system, or the air traffic control and flight plan system went down, is, of course, during the last 3 videos I was going along with the idea that it might be something related to UFOs. That, of course, that's a lot more exciting, isn't it? The idea that it's UFOs and not just some big electronic cock-up which the management then decide to lie about. But I think both are equally true. I'm not completely discounting the UFO theory just because of what I've said in this particular video. And indeed, I did speak to more than one person who was talking about seeing strange lights above Gatwick Airport. So the idea that this is UFO related, I think, is still valid. I think it's equally true to the hypothesis that Ian was talking about, and that indeed I accept as quite likely. But either way, I mean, it doesn't matter which one it is, whether it's a corporate cover-up because of the fear of financial payouts, or whether it was aliens coming down from somewhere and hovering above the airport, interfering with flights and things like that. Whichever one it is, the drone story is equally false in both cases. And there's a motive to put in the fake drone story in accordance with both hypotheses. So there was a motive to lie, regardless of which one of those two possibilities is true. And I think we've caught them out. I think there's no doubt now there were no drones. It was all a big lie. It was all rubbish. And that, and I think I just hope that this comes out. I just hope there's some kind of point where this does reach the public sphere, this reaches public knowledge, so that people will actually realise what happened, and then the people behind it, the people behind this, the people who committed this hoax, really, they're the ones who ruined Christmas, as Ian says in his video. They're the morons who ruined Christmas, but they're also criminally negligent and deceitful. I think it's an act of fraud what they've done, and if it can be proved that they did it, they should do jail time for this. I mean, not only should, I mean, this is the case of they're withholding compensation from over 100,000 passengers who are entitled to it, but also the wrongful arrest and incarceration of an innocent man and a woman, who essentially, as I said, were patsies. They're people who were made to look guilty, so that those who were really guilty got away with it. They were the Lee Harvey Oswalds of Gatwick Airport, both of them. Obviously they were not shot by Jack Ruby like Lee Harvey Oswald was, but I mean, and it looks as if they are going to go for compensation. They're going to go for a libel suit as well against the newspapers, which they should win, and I hope they damn well do. And I hope, like I said, I hope they get every last penny they can out of these bastards. But it's like, this is the contempt that people in authority really feel for people. This is the contempt that airline management feels for its passengers. This is the contempt that the media feels for ordinary people. This is the contempt they feel for everyone. I mean, the essential security services and people like that. And if they're lying about this thing to do with Gatwick Airport, no matter what was behind it, whether it was aliens or whether it was a breakdown of the air traffic control system, if they're lying about it, if they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? That's the question, isn't it? Well, I hope you have a nice Boxing Day, and if I can do another video before New Year, I will. If not, I know I was going to do a live stream. I'm sorry I haven't done it. That is coming, I promise. But on the 30th, the day before New Year's Eve, there's going to be Hapanwo Radio. Remember, the Hapanwo Radio New Year special. So tune into Hapanwo Radio, ladies and gentlemen. Then, and if there's not another Hapanwo TV video, then I would like to wish all Hapanwo TV viewers a very happy Boxing Day and a very happy New Year. Thank you for watching Hapanwo TV all through 2018 and into 2019. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.